No, it was. I'm just like, this guy's fucking awesome. So definitely check out that. Maybe mention it.
You want to mic?
Davin and Jack are not role models. They're just two guys in a garage drinking beer and talking. Some of what is said is not in the best taste or interest of national security. Some of the statistics they cite are not 100% accurate. Do your own research. They may be wrong about anything and everything. Their memories are bad because they're kind of old and have been drinking. Oh yeah, always remember to drink responsibly. Who are we kidding? The only people that are watching this are their moms and some random guy who passed out with autoplay on. And welcome to 240 Tuesdays.
And we're back.
We're back.
All right. We know we have to apologize. It's been 2 weeks. 2 weeks ago, I was sick as a dog, and I was like, nope, we ain't doing it.
Yeah.
Which I think is a better excuse than why somebody was out last Tuesday. Why were you out last Tuesday?
Vacation.
You got Tool tickets.
Okay, that counts.
Yeah,
it's a vacation for the mind.
Yeah. No, it was Tool. When Jack told me, he's like, hey, I got Tool tickets. I was like, I can't fault you for that. I mean, go see Tool.
And it was worthy.
Yeah, very worthy. I'm trying to check and make sure we are actually live, because it does take, we're live.
Alright, right on.
So it says live.
It worked.
It worked, and my volume's down. I'm going to try and pull up chat.
And well, welcome to episode 10. I looked it up today. So I'm glad that we're back. Davin and I mutually decided that this week we're going to avoid politics, let the anticipation build a little bit, but also it's everywhere and there's other things we can talk about. So our topics for the evening, we're going to do opioids and that crisis, as well as vaping and the changes that are coming to the country related to that. I didn't have time to look up facts today, but we'll go to the bucket and get some random topics, and we'll see how it goes. But welcome to another episode of 240 Tuesday. I'm Jack, this is Davin.
Davin and Jack. We're going to tone it down, just like Jack says. This political stuff, nightly, daily, hourly, is just so draining. So, in general, the first topic that we're looking at, the opioid crisis.
Yeah.
So it actually went to the Supreme Court today, and they were waiting for opening hearings. And 3 other companies decided, as long as you do not blame us or fault us, we will put into the pot of money that we're going to give all these people.
Which, yeah, all right.
It's
kind of, yeah, kind of.
I know.
They deserve to be held accountable for their contribution, but at least they're willing to throw some money at it.
And this is just my whole thing with it in general, and we're going to get into it in the next topic too, is everybody should be accountable for your actions.
Yeah.
I mean, you come to this country with the...
Or you're born in this country. It's a freedom of country. I mean, you get to do almost what you want. You're not killing, raping, and pillaging. You can do what you want. I mean, we're sitting here drinking beer. We're two responsible, grown adults drinking beer. Yeah, we do have a decent amount of freedom. The disagreement I have with that statement, because first off, I absolutely agree that you should be personally responsible for yourself and those you care about. But some folks are in this situation through means that were outside of their control. If you get addicted because you believe your doctor, and your doctor is prescribing you medication because it helps his bottom line, and then before you know it, your prescription's cut off, and you still are a junkie. You're still an addict with a problem that needs to be addressed, and you're going to go to alternate sources. Oh, actually, real quick, here's a fact. October 26th is DEA pill take-back day. So if you do have expired prescriptions, that's the one day of the year that the DEA accepts all of those and will properly dispose of them so they don't end up in the wrong hands or the hands of somebody who may potentially want to hurt themselves. So yeah, there you go, October 26th. But anyway, like, and that's my conflict regarding the opioid crisis, is not only the extremely high amount of overdoses, which also contributes to emergency room bills, taking care of people who may not have insurance or be able to save their own lives. And then it may have been out of their control, or they were too ignorant to understand how addictive this drug is because they were misled. And then before they know it, they're in a really, really bad way. And in my opinion, they need help. And I do think a lot of these pharmaceutical companies did this purposefully because they only care about the bottom line and they want to make as much money as possible.
So we both have spent time in Michigan, which is Pfizer.
Yeah.
Is huge. I mean, that's their base in Michigan.
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy. We don't like, and of course I just forgot it. I just started drinking and I forgot it. The lobbyists.
Oh, yeah.
Lobbyists.
Yeah, for sure.
So
Lobbyists.
are huge in Big Pharma
Yeah.
and Pfizer. And Pfizer is one of the biggest companies in the world to make and distribute all this stuff.
Yep, absolutely.
There comes a point, and maybe this is why I'm closer to center than the far right to say fuck it. There comes a point where there's a moral compass that you have to stand by in your fellow man and people. And when there is a company, and I'm sorry, they employ millions of people around the world, that is for profit and makes drugs knowing that people are going to be addicted, reliable, and killed for something they're making.
For sure.
I mean, it's just ridiculous. And then the doctors, I have a family member in the pharmaceutical company, or industry, and they have reps coming in. I mean, they literally have reps coming into pharmacies.
Oh, sure. Constantly.
Constantly. And it's free this, free that. That's not against the law, or if it is, it's happening. And it's just constantly push our drug.
Yeah.
This drug is awesome. This drug is great. Sell this much of this drug and we'll give you this incentive. That is a factual thing that happens in the pharmaceutical industry.
I completely agree. And they're so good at what they do and at walking the legal line that it takes a catastrophe and thousands, if not millions of people standing up and raising the flag before something actually does get addressed to try to get it stopped. But I just learned the other day, like fentanyl is out there, and this microscopic amount, like it's milligrams, if not micrograms. I think it's milligrams, but either way, is enough to just straight up kill a grown adult.
Kill somebody.
They just came out with another drug, or invented one that's like 10 or 100 times more powerful than fentanyl, and I was just like, why? And the reason that they put the research into it is for hospice care, because it's like, you know, you're on your way out and they want to make it as painless as possible. And so, you know, I mean, I can understand that pursuit, but it's like, it's going to get in the wrong hands because they always do, and then more people are going to OD, which is, you have more deaths on your hands, and potentially, like, and just everything about it is shit. And
Now I understand that the drug industry has helped people live from the 1800s past the age of 30, 35, 40. I mean, it just keeps going.
Yeah.
But at some point, for profit, to keep people alive and have them on the Medicare and to have them on the prescriptions and to go into debt to live at an older age, when's enough?
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, and that's what bothers me too about a lot of industries, but pharmaceutical company tops that list, is propagating on suffering just to make more money, and that's I don't know how we can correct that other than holding people accountable like they're trying to do now, but because it's like, how do you instill morality in people who don't give a shit about anybody else and just want to get rich?
Now, maybe I'm going to cross the line, but this is the exact same thing in my opinion, that we're looking at with stuff like the fast food industry, obesity. You gotta hold. So maybe this is far extreme in one direction than the other. Legalize everything, and give people their own free will to do what they want.
I mean, I like the idea of legalizing everything and taxing the shit out of it to spend that money on places where it needs to go, to include facilities to help people that are addicted. But, like, because I just think the whole... When you look at the spectrum of drug arrests and incarcerations, it is dramatically skewed towards minorities because... Well, there's a lot of data on it, but by my impression, it's because white folks that get busted typically can afford better lawyers than minorities that get busted. And if you have a good lawyer, your court proceedings are going to go a lot better for you. And you're going to get a shorter sentence.
Unfortunately, Bill Clinton hit the huge nail on the head when he upped those regulations against drugs because it was specifically for the, I'm not going to say the minority, but the lower population of the people. And you're 100% correct, but I think it was more towards the lower income people, and unfortunately at the time in the early to mid 90s, that was the population that happened.
Yeah.
So at some point, and maybe we're wrapping this up or you got something else to say, you are responsible as an adult to live your life in a manner that doesn't break the laws. You're not killing, you're not raping, you're being happy. If you want to sit in your garage and have a beer, you can have a beer. But at some point, you have to take responsibility for your life and what you want to accomplish and how you accomplish that. And as soon as you become society's problem, I think something needs to change.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you become a burden to society, that's typically viewed as a problem. But the point, I don't think people are aware, when it comes to the slope that they're on, oftentimes until it's too late. And the tragedies we don't hear about are the ones that do become aware of it, where they're like, holy shit, I have a problem, I need to do something about it, or I need to make the right decision for my family and rein this back, or any number of factors that may stop them from becoming an addict that sacrifices everything for their next high. And so, like, and that's the delicacy of trying to, like, if we were to legalize everything, like, how would you prevent that from happening on a massive scale? Like, I mean, because yes, I agree, like, you have to be personally responsible, like, know how much you can drink and that kind of thing, but some folks just aren't. And when if they aren't personally responsible, or they think they are and it gets out of hand, then we have a problem, and that's, yeah.
I just got an awesome idea, so I'm going to play devil's advocate for 5 minutes.
Okay.
Okay. People who are not responsible for their actions tend to... I just twisted this completely in my head. I was like, I'm going to get you here to play the devil's advocate, but I'm going to back up. It's just, at some point, we have to step back and say, how much help are we going to give these people? When are these people controversial? When are these people just done?
Yeah.
When is a point to be like, we can't help you, all you're going to do is go take drugs and kill yourself eventually. So I just remembered where I'm going with it.
Okay.
So a bunch of families went to court to sue these people for opioid addictions.
Yeah.
And the court said, okay, these companies are making a drug that's killing people. Everybody knows it. So the families are getting, general quote, almost $1 trillion totaled up between all four companies, except for Walgreens. Walgreens backed out of the suit. They said, we are not going to be liable. We're not going to say we're not liable, and we're not going to look into it.
Okay.
So just so you know, look it up.
Interesting.
Yeah, Walgreens backed out and said, no, we're not a part of this. Fuck your couch.
Okay.
So that was interesting. At what point do we go, these people had a problem, they died, and the family gets a lot of money because they had an addicted or somebody on the wrong path of life that could not get out of it.
I don't think we need to. Like I think we should continue to hold the pharmaceutical companies responsible because number one, there needs to be further regulation on the distribution of these drugs, and number two, there needs to be closer monitoring on how those drugs are consumed so it doesn't get out of hand. And number three, we need to kick these guys in the dick for profiting on the death of people. Like, and their families are suffering, and their families, for I would wager the vast majority of cases, are completely innocent, but they just lost a loved one to an addiction that he or she couldn't control. And so, fuck the pharmaceutical companies. Like, thank you for helping out as necessary, but for just profiteering, no, you're pieces of garbage.
What if, though, and again, I'm playing devil's advocate, just thinking, what if the pharmaceutical companies, the private corporations that make drugs and anti-vaccinations and antibiotics and antidepressants that actually the majority helps people, but they still sell drugs that kill people. So if you start going after these pharmaceutical companies, I would think, just from practice and life, I'm going to be like, well, now I have to pay millions of dollars for something I make. The other 80% of stuff that helps people, price goes up. R&D into making new stuff, yeah, I'm not going to do that as much because I'm just going to be punished for helping people in half the stuff I do.
Okay. I'm going to reiterate that you're playing devil's advocate.
No, please. I'm just thinking of this. I'm like, it's a private company,
Yeah.
which, gosh knows, I don't want the government to take over any part of pharmaceuticals. But when a company is successful in, I'm just guessing, 60 to 80% of things that actually help and save people's lives, but a small percentage kills
Right.
a ton of people.
Sure. Okay, I understand where you're going. So, firstly, there's a ton more research done outside of pharmaceutical companies, like universities and privately funded studies and grants given by the government to for people to do research to develop new things, and so that's important, and that wouldn't go away in your scenario. Secondly, their cost of production versus their cost of sale is still dramatically higher. So the cost to make a certain pill is way lower than what they actually market it for, especially while they have the patent for that pill or various drug or whatever, because while the patent's in place, they are the sole owner of it. But when the patent expires, that's when you see generic versions of that out on the market, and those are much more affordable, and it generally gets people what they need, but at a much more affordable price. The tragedy are people like Martin Shkreli, however you pronounce his last name, who came in and was like, wow, insulin is super useful and people really need it, so we're going to jack up this method so that we can make a ton of profit.
You're talking about the guy that took over and then the injections were like went from like $80 to $560. And
yeah, it was ridiculous. It was like 700% or something.
It wasn't
crazy.
insulin, it was the allergy, the EpiPens.
That's
EpiPens.
right. That's thank
Okay.
you. Yeah.
Yeah.
But either way, he sees a market, and with a business mind rather than a helping people live mind, he just cranks the price, and it affects thousands of people, and he makes a fat payday. And it's like, that's what's messed up with the system, and that's what needs to change. And if people like Pfizer are like, oh, we're going to get out of the drug game, someone else will come into it, because that's capitalism. And or
Capitalism.
or we'll get
Yeah.
or we'll get other countries who develop it and sell it for a dramatically lower rate, and it's just as viable. Because everyone sells their drugs in the U.S. because our insurance market is out of control and our drug market's out of control. We're the only westernized nation that can advertise drugs on TV. That's the stupidest thing ever. You go into your doctor and you're like, I want this pill. I know the side effects are a leaky butthole, but I think my leg twitches from time to time. And the doc's like, cool, those guys are giving me kickbacks, so you can definitely have that drug, and this is wrapped up, and I can get on to my next patient. And it's a shit industry that needs a lot of investigation and accountability, and these lawsuits are going to get us there. And so, I mean, more power to the people that are holding these guys to task. And if Walgreens did back out, I didn't know that, but fuck them.
Yeah. No, and I know politics is just overwhelming recently, and I literally have stopped and taken back in the last 4 days and just watched a few here and there from what I call left moderate and conservative sites. But it's just so much right now. The normal person in society is like, fuck this. There's so much going on right now. There's so much that you can't decipher what's true, what's not, and then go deeper into. I got more stuff like a family and jobs and shit to worry about than watching and keeping up with what's lies, what's not. I mean, it's just crazy.
Yeah,
It's just crazy.
It does feel exhausting at times, but like for me, it's a passion. So I always want to read as much as I can about different things, but I completely understand when folks are like, I have too much on my plate. Like I can't look into it. And I was like, well, if you want to hang out with me while I smoke a cigar, I'll tell you my opinion on it, and usually we can have a good conversation. But it's like, I totally understand, because there's too much out there, and you gotta, especially if you're thorough enough to go to multiple sources from both sides of the aisle and try to be as fair in your own mind as possible. Like, it's work, and so I mean, I understand. Like, I like it, but
It's just
Yeah.
and I'm still going to my diehard guys, and I know some of them are parodies, some of them are fun, some of them are. It's just so much right now. On the pharmaceutical stuff, make your opinion. Check out, do some research.
Yeah.
Private industry, of course, I love it and think it's awesome, but in this type of thing, when companies are going to get sued and produce stuff that actually is killing people and making them addicted, I think in the future we're going to see a huge reduction in some stuff, just as, because it's private company, as a FU to the people that, hey, we're going to save and extend your life, and now we have got to pay money for it. So
yeah.
I think there'll be repercussions.
I don't think any of these assholes are going to be hurting. Like, even if it is a collective $1 trillion, which is astronomical, they're still all going to be alright. So, and they're still going to keep making and selling drugs in the U.S. But, yeah, alright, fucking ding.
Yeah, no, I'm waiting. I'm like, I'll give you the last.
No, you're good. Yeah.
Alright. Dinging on that, hey, a short notice for people that are still on. We've had up to half a dozen viewers. There's a few people still watching. Yay! A side note, so I work at the haunted house. The funnest thing you can do to get paid is to scare people. And a few people have actually watched this show, and they're like, you guys have a great idea. Nowhere else can you have two people just sit down with differences and talk. They've told me stories like, yeah, I was at a party, or I was and I was talking to somebody, and one trigger word, one keyword, and the other person was like, you're a racist piece of shit, you should die. And they're like, whoa, what? So, even though we're not popular right now, we're trying to do something and just get two sides. Sometimes we agree, and sometimes we don't. But shout out to City of the Dead Asylum, haunted house in Brighton, Colorado. Work there 3-4 times a week. It's the greatest thing you can do. I can't act whatsoever, but I can definitely jump out with the chainsaw and make somebody crawl up in a fetal position and cry, which it's kind of demented. I mean, it's like the most legal thing you can do to scare somebody non-violently and get paid for it. So, shameless plug, City of the Dead. It was awesome.
Shameless plug us. If you dig what you're seeing, tell somebody. I noticed we set a new record for ourselves. We're up to 27 subscribers. and
Mom, you still haven't subscribed. I know you watch it and don't even have a YouTube account. So when I come up there, we're gonna set you up.
I don't think my mom subscribed either.
Yeah, they're like, subscribe, Bell. What's I just clicked the link that you.
Yeah, and that's cool too. I appreciate views. But yeah, so thank you to everybody as always.
Let's do this.
Okay.
Let's pull out something from the bucket. We'll read it, and we will have the people watching and or comment, and then we'll answer that when we start the bucket and do the rest.
Okay.
Cool. Alright, the bucket's getting thin. So, instead of having a question for the viewers, ooh. Oh gosh. Best PC game of the 90s.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Easy.
So, the people that are watching live, and or the people that watch this in the future, best PC game of the 90s. And actually, I'm going to, mine might be a little long for this,
Yeah, that's cool.
but it was the worst release on the PC ever. So,
Okay. That's
Yeah.
a teaser.
yeah, I took 2 days off work and sat in front of a computer for almost 36 hours, hitting a refresh button every 1 minute, waiting for this game to come on after it was released, and it did not work. It did not work.
Awesome.
So-
What's that noise?
I'm hoping it was something from the inside of my house, because it sounded like a USB got unplugged.
Literally did.
But I got chat. We're still streaming.
Yeah, alright, fuck it.
We should be good to go. Okay.
Okay.
The next topic, which has been huge, and I'm vested in this a lot. I don't know if Jack is, but we're like, okay, we're not going politics. Let's look at the major things that are going on
Right.
in society. The deaths in the last 4 months with vaping.
Right, yeah, okay.
So we know vaping is, not from my point of view, but it's being marketed as a safer alternative to cigarettes,
Yeah, that is what they try, yeah.
which I completely agree. There is a non-shameless plug. There's a Canadian company on YouTube that does videos, and they're called Dash Vape.
Okay.
Okay, they actually sit down and they go, here is the statistics of vaping versus cigarettes. Here is what's going on. Here is what the CDC says is the problem with vaping.
Okay, that seems fair, yeah.
And-
I haven't watched it, but
Yeah.
yeah, okay.
No, so vaping is the next cool thing. I would compare it to having a pager in high school in the 90s. Okay? Not everybody had it, but when you had it, it was cool, and you were somebody for being able to afford a pager and service for it.
Okay, yeah, alright. I get the analogy. Well, in Colorado, like, we have something, if we're not number one...
No. Yeah, we are.
Oh, okay, yeah.
we
'cause
are number one for teen under the age of 18 vaping. Colorado is number one.
Wow. Yeah, so, personally, not really a fan. Like, I smoke sponsor, Black and Milds, and and that's not healthy, and I know that, and I'm trying to cut back, but I just enjoy it, and whatever, that's all my personal opinion. But vaping makes me cough my ass off, and for whatever reason, it hits me differently, and so I'm not the biggest fan of it. I know friends that dig it, and, more power to them. I can't judge anybody. I've had this habit for quite a while, and so, like, I don't know. Like, I'm weirdly on the fence. Usually I'm a very opinionated person, and I'm weirdly on the fence about the vaping issue, because I am pro-smoking, and vaping is a version of that, and I think that freedom doesn't necessarily need to be impeded upon, because I feel that personally I try to be very respectful with it. Like, I certainly try to avoid, like, little kids and other people.
Just being respectable.
Yeah, I just try to, I don't want you to be affected by something that is a habit that I enjoy. And so, and I think as long as you keep that in mind, then who gives a shit? The same as drinking beer in your garage. It's like, I'm not, like, pouring a 40 on a little kid's head, like, drink up, little dude, or anything like that, because I want to be respectful to myself and to those around me. And I think as long as you maintain those two categories, then hell yeah, do whatever the hell you want. So that's why I feel like I'm on the fence, because when vaping blew up, and got so popular, like, I was concerned from a adult perspective in that it seemed like very little went into the research and the different ingredients that are in there and that kind of thing, whereas like, we know what's in cigarettes, like, people have dissected them, and people just generally don't give a shit. And I mean, shit, there's some countries that have literal, like, dying people on the packs, and people still buy them. And it was Dennis Leary, like, years ago, one of his stand-up specials, he's like, you can make a pack of cigarettes and call them tumors and put a skull and crossbones on, and people would just be like, nom nom.
Yeah, still take it in.
Yeah, and that's your choice. And in a way, it absolutely relates to addiction, because I think if you don't check yourself, you're going down a slippery slope, and you're probably gonna die. And so you gotta have that self-awareness. But thankfully, that addiction, while many people say it's very difficult to quit, it is not. Like, you're not going to OD on a cigarette, and so it's much less scary from an addiction, habitual aspect of things. Eventually, yeah, probably. I think it's much more similar to your fast food analogy, where it's like, if you do this every day for a long time, it's going to negatively impact you, and fuck it, that's your choice. I mean, you're being personally responsible for yourself.
Your personal responsibility should not come back me to take care of you when you're unhealthy. And I don't expect anybody else to take care of me tax-wise if I choose to do what I do.
Yeah, well, I agree with that. The caveat, the counterpoint rather, is that the enticement to children and the ease of access, I think, is a problem. Like, when they banned flavored cigarettes, like in Obama's administration, and and I was like, well, shit, I kind of like those little, like, cherry sweet dreams from time to time. And it was like, but they're saying little kids get them more easily, and they're not as disgusting to get started with, and then now you're addicted and you're in the system. Same thing with, goddamn, same thing with
yeah, we're both trying to hide it tonight real good.
same thing with Joe Camel as an advertiser. It's like, oh, he's a cartoon character, and little kids are like, oh, he looks so cool, so I want to be cool. And it's like, get rid of all that shit. I don't want to entice little kids.
But on a side note, just because you've been talking too much right now.
Alright.
No, I'm just messing with you. Tobacco. Tobacco still has peach and apple and different flavors, but
Chew does?
yes,
Oh, I didn't know
100% right now. I personally choose something that tastes disgusting to 99.9% of Americans, but they still have peach and apple and different flavors out there.
I did not know that.
Yeah, but it comes down to, I personally think that the cigarette industry has the lobbyists to be like, we're losing money, and you have to do this now. Like Juul, the company Juul that everybody knows about, is actually owned by a cigarette company.
That makes sense.
So they were like, we're losing all this money in the industry. We need to get in this and figure out how to do it.
Well, damn, man.
And they did.
The theme of this episode is people who fuck other people for profit.
Yeah. Now I would rather just work hard, pay my bills, and leave me the fuck alone.
Yeah.
On there in general. But back to the vaping stuff real quick. The people that are dying, and the industry is crazy with vape juice.
Yeah.
It's not regulated. You can make it out of your house. You can add flavors to it and do what you want with it. I did not mean to do this. Vape juice. My vape juice.
It's a special carry case.
Yeah, it's sexy purple. It looks awesome. Some of the stuff in here, I mean, nothing is really regulated. Hopefully the guy doesn't watch this, but the guy at the liquor store makes his own.
Interesting. Okay.
Handed me out. He's like, hey, try this. Gave me a 15 ml bottle. He's like, hey, try this. Try this. Try this. So the whole thing that the vaping
You have a
industry.
dealer.
Yeah, right. I have a vape juice dealer. Most of that stuff's gonna go in the trash because it's so, which is bad. It's so cheap. So many offers. 25 milligram bottles for $5 shipped for free just to try our stuff. The stuff that actually the CDC has actually found that is killing people is the homegrown people or the businesses that are making themselves. They are all CBD cartridges with synthetic marijuana.
Weird.
Mm-hmm.
I heard an article. I saw that there was like a high percentage. I didn't think it was all though, but either way, I mean, it's scary in a way, like, cause it's like, but there's some people that like for me, I averaged like 2 to 3 black and milds a day, and which is not healthy at all, and I wouldn't recommend it, but I enjoy it. It's my thing. But there's some people, like you see the videos online where they're taking like monster lungfuls and blowing these huge clouds and doing little like smoke rings and kind of cool looking stuff with it. And I was like, that's kind of neat or whatever, but it's like if you're taking massive lungfuls of this stuff with quite a few ingredients in it, like, who knows what parts of it cling to the different parts of your lungs, and eventually you have a catastrophic reaction and wind up in the hospital or worse. Like,
Well, and I think the biggest thing, especially with Colorado being the #1 state for teen vaping, my opinion, get ready, we're gonna blow up here in the chat, is when we legalized marijuana, we took something that was told to people through DARE programs and everything else, this is horrible.
yeah,
We legalized it, and a very short time later, vaping came out, and kids were like, okay, marijuana's legal, why can't I do this? Why can't I do what I want? Now, Boulder County in the city of Denver, I believe Boulder, don't quote me on it, but I'm pretty sure.
okay.
Starting November 1st or October 1st, has changed the complete tobacco law to 21,
Okay.
which I'm cool with.
Yeah, I'm cool with that.
But I have teenage daughters, and you got to pick your fights.
Yeah.
So-
and shit. And then I'm cool with it because obviously I'm older than 21, but I'm not cool with it in the sense that I think it's hella messed up that you can serve the military and die.
I was just going to say, I was
Like-
literally trying to find a way to sneak that in and go, you're 18, maybe a different topic, but
Okay.
you're 18, you go into the military, you have more training than probably 90% of the American population with weapons, with killing, with responsibility to your fellow man.
Yeah.
And if you're out, I'm going to say in the brush, maybe that's bad, for 6-7 days, and you come back for 2 days and you get to, why can't you have a beer at
Yeah.
the age of 19,
Hey, let's
20?
do that. All right. 21 for everybody, tobacco and alcohol, unless you have a military ID.
Yeah.
I'd vote for that
No.
right now.
Yeah.
Because, like, if you're going to put your life on the line to protect the people of this country, hell yeah, you can have a drink, and I'll buy it for you.
Yeah, no, I mean it's just crazy how the scale changes depending on the situation.
Yeah.
Somebody wants to go risk their life for me to go to some probably fucked up war that I don't agree with,
Yeah.
50% of it, and they want to come home and I want to take them out for a beer and they can't.
Yeah.
No, I mean that's wrong.
Yeah. Yeah. Fuck that. Yeah, so vaping, it's a tough one.
I think in general, and here's the whole story that I wanted to convey when we brought this up.
Yeah.
We both had a coworker that had vaped for almost 40 years of her life.
Mm-hmm.
Cigarettes, pack plus a day. She was always out there. She was smoking. Vaping came out.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely think that vaping, to an extent, is a safer alternative than a cigarette. My grandfather died of emphysema. Camel, unfiltered, World War II vet, racist as shit. That's what he grew up in. Loved basketball. I was at his deathbed 2 days before he died. Still pulling the oxygen off, ripping the filter off of Camel and smoking. I mean, that was kind of his thing. If that's what he wants to do, then that's what he wants to do.
Yeah.
But I think that it's a better alternative for somebody that has been doing it long enough that, hey, if it makes you feel better, if it makes them go, okay, I'm not smoking something that's burning, and I'm trying something else, hey, good for them.
I think there could be something to that. I like the idea of people using it resourcefully because the positive to vaping is you can adjust the nicotine level so you can start out at like full strength and like wean yourself off. And if that's your method, if that's what you want to do, to quit and be free from the nicotine addiction, then I think that's a great idea. I don't know about the health benefits or detriments because I don't feel like there's been enough research done. Like there's been a ton of research about cigarettes and that's how we know how bad they are. And like I think vape research is just coming out.
Yeah. And side note, my last comment on this: check out Dash Vapes. They really do in-depth stuff. They're a Canadian company. Canada is about to completely ban vaping over cigarettes, which of course I don't disagree with at all. But just look into it and don't listen to what people are saying, because under the surface there's the CDC saying, hey, it's these artificial marijuana companies that are adding products into the vape juice that is starting a problem. And of course with the internet, everybody buys stuff off the internet.
Yeah.
You can get it in 2 days. For a third the price of something going down to the mall, you can get it for. But check it out and just don't listen to what the main media is saying. If you have a stance on it, which everybody does, being underage, 21, whatever, just look into it and see how it goes.
Yeah, I agree. Definitely do your research. If you don't smoke, don't start. Or if you don't dip, don't start.
In another subject that I will give you heads up on in the future so we can both do research. I think nicotine in general, pure straight nicotine, is actually just as beneficial as caffeine.
Okay.
But when you look at all the studies and stuff and all the carcinogenics that are put into cigarettes and things that make it more addictive, it's not good.
And all the different factors. Yeah, because there's so many additives to it.
Oh, it's
and,
straight nicotine has proven, and we're not going to go into it, I'll just say this real quick. Just straight nicotine has been proven to be beneficial as caffeine when you get up in the morning and want a coffee. So, I mean, it's decent stuff, but when people make something purposely addictive for profit, such as opioids, that's the problem.
Yeah.
But then again, our country has purposely made that a model in there.
You'll get rich.
I mean, you'll get rich. You'll get rich for killing people.
Yeah, faux show.
Gosh, this shirt makes me look fat tonight. I'm not that fat.
Alright, the end of that topic. Take a brief moment. I left my hat at home. It won't happen again, but for now you can enjoy these locks.
Right. The two stories. One on Jack. So 10 years ago, I re-met Jack and was working with him. You know where I'm going with this?
No.
Locks for Love.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah. This guy had hair. His hair was down to the middle of his back. It flowed. It was just, it was Fabio hair. It was black Fabio hair.
Yeah. All those years ago.
And then he grows up. He did cut it all off in a ponytail, donated it to Locks of Love. It was a great thing.
A couple times. Yeah.
Yeah, so that was good. Quick story, second story. My shirt. I love this shirt. I saw it at a concert. a beer fest about a year and a half ago at Fiddler's Green.
Okay. Yeah.
And I was like, I have to buy that shirt. So after I bought the shirt, I don't wear it much, but it's funny. I mean,
Yeah.
it makes people think. So,
No one wants to think about that.
so a year and a half ago, I go in for hernia surgery.
I remember.
Yes. So guess what shirt I wore into the hospital for hernia surgery? There is nothing like wearing a shirt like this when you go up to the registration desk, and the old lady is and she looks up and she just stops, and she's like tilting her head, and she's like, "You know you're going in for hernia surgery, right?" I bust out laughing. Okay.
Good on her. That's awesome.
My wife does not have the same humor. She looked at me and be like, "I fucking told you not to wear that shirt." So that was the admissions, and then we go up to the second floor and we go to the lady who puts people into the pre-rooms and everything and all that. And we walk up and she knows we're coming. We registered and we were downstairs, and to have these little old ladies just tilt their head and read the shirt. And she's like, and she again goes,
She checks the chart.
she's like, "You know you're having hernia surgery, right?" I was like, "Yes, mission accomplished." I don't think I've worn this in a year. And
I think you've worn it on our show.
did I wear it again?
I think so.
Okay, so if I did, that's the story behind this shirt. But it is amazing to wear something like this. I don't think I could wear it in public in the state I live in.
Yeah.
But yeah,
No one wants to think about that.
yeah. Well, I mean, some people might want to think about that. But
Oh, yeah. All right.
double bell. All right, we're 45 into it. We're gonna bust out this bucket a little bit and get it done.
Oh, I have one fact.
Yeah.
For some reason, this just jumped into my. Oh no, that's disgusting. So I thought of this earlier. I was telling a coworker, "This is my defense."
We're not
But
monetized,
after an entire-
so
After an entire conversation about your balls, this is gonna be really awkward. So, oral sex was illegal in Canada until what year?
shoot. I'm gonna guess 30 years ago, so we'll say like 1970-ish.
1969.
Oh, that was
Hey-yo.
close.
I just thought that was humorous. It stuck in my brain, and there you go. There's a fact. All right, back to the bucket.
Back to the bucket. So the earlier question we had, and we have a couple people watching, best PC game of the 90s.
Yeah.
Okay, I pulled it. I'll start real quick. I'm a Mac guy, so I'm a total Mac guy.
Oh, there go our last two viewers.
Yeah, right. My dad, Mac.
Okay.
So I moved
Oh,
out.
wait, there's one answer to this for Mac. Keep going. Keep going.
So I moved out of the and this was when Macintosh was like dying in the mid 90s.
Yeah.
Like they had nothing.
Yeah.
They were so
Except for
proprietary. I mean, we've all played Oregon Trail on an Apple IIe.
Yep.
So
Our age.
well, people, look it up. So I moved out of the house, and I was like, I want to play games. I go home to a house. I'm by myself. Porn was not a thing on the internet.
True.
Other than Passwords by Jesus. Don't look that up now.
I don't even know what that is.
Yeah, don't look. That was the first Pornhub website in '98. I kid you not. And loading pictures of porn up on a 56K connection
Oh my
for a modem.
gosh.
Yeah, it was. The anticipation was great because as each strip loads
Oh my god.
for one picture, oh, it was bad. It was bad. So I wanted to play video games, and I actually got a Gateway
Yeah. Okay.
computer
Yeah.
with the 21-inch screen, custom,
Damn. that's
customized
big for back
everything.
then, yeah.
And the first game that was literally amazing for maybe the first-person genre, go to Wikipedia, and it was called Delta Force. And they actually made 3 of them.
Okay.
You could have 4 people online in one map with blocky graphics,
Yeah.
and you basically walked around this huge map, crawling, scoping, and looking for somebody to shoot.
That does sound fun.
I mean, it was good. So that was the first introduction to online gaming, and somewhat multi-gaming was Delta Force. Very soon after that, which actually the wife got into, I was not a Doom person, but the first and second Unreal Tournament
Oh my god, Unreal Tournament.
on the PC.
That game was so
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah.
And the AI was so far ahead of its time.
Oh, it was one of the first AIs where you'd have the buzzsaw, and you'd shoot at somebody, and you're like, "I got you, bitch," and they move. You're like, "Wait a minute, you're a bot.
Yeah,
You're a
they were
computer."
so good.
Yeah, it was.
Like
it was-
I remember playing Unreal Tournament and having, you'd set up like a 10v10 or a 20v20, and 18 of them would be AI, and it would be an absolute blast with you and your buddy. Oh man,
Yeah.
that was a great game.
To wrap up, those are the two best games of the '90s that actually got me into PC gaming online. Around the time eBay came on, I'm actually a eBay member from day 2.
Wow.
So, and I still have 100% feedback, so that's good. But the game that I was talking about earlier was World War II Online.
Okay.
So basically, you could do planes, bombers, jeeps, tanks, infantry. It was the first
Damn.
60-player person online map and everything. And I took 2 days off of work. I was like, okay, it's coming out, say, on a Wednesday. And loaded it up, got it going, tried to log in, server connection error. Server connection error. Server connection error.
Yeah.
And I sat there because I took Thursday and Friday off. I was like, I want to be a tank. I want to fly a bomber. I want to be a bombardier. I want to do... No. The shit never worked.
It sounds way ahead of its time.
Yeah. It took 2 months before anybody could actually even log in to play the game. So it was... And if you look on some videos, it was the worst release for a PC game ever.
Dang, it was the ET of PC.
Yeah. Yeah.
Alright, so first when you were going down the Mac trail, I thought you were going to say Marathon, which was the Mac equivalent of Quake.
Yep.
And that game was awesome. We used to play it in the computer lab at school. And then as I was thinking about this, I love Half-Life. That was such
I
a
know
great
you.
first
I was
person
hoping
game.
you were going with this. I was hoping you were
But
going.
the best game
Yep.
of the 90s is Ultima Online. Because it came out in 97.
Nope,
and
you went
it's
left.
still, in my opinion, the greatest game of all time.
Yeah. One of the first, now I'm a Wizardry fan, and as far as dungeon scrollers, Wizardry and I the Beholder were the first dungeon scroller RPS
Yeah.
type games.
Yep.
But as far as online games go, Ultima Online is it.
Started it all. Though I will credit MUDs, which were my first ever online experience, which for those who don't know is short for multi-user dungeon, and it was a entirely text-based game. And I give MUDs credit for my quick reading and quick typing speed. So when you always make fun of me for typing as quickly as I do, thank MUDs.
Okay, we're going to go to text-based scrollers. What are they called? What was MUD called? Because there was also Zork, and I'm going even farther back. One of the first games I ever played, which was horrible for me because it was a reading typing game that I was horrible at, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
I never played that.
Oh.
I remember. I think you and I have talked about it before.
Yeah.
Zork was the first ever game I played.
Yeah.
Yeah.
which is for the younger people, you basically read a paragraph or maybe 2 sentences. It gave you a scenario, and then you had to type in, sit up, walk to the door, get the mail, and it was
Go east.
yeah.
Like,
I mean, it was based strictly on text based, and I'm forgetting what those were called, but
I mean, other than MUDs, I would just call them. Oh, you're talking like.
text based games.
Yeah, that's all I would call it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, text-based. I thought, on a side note, because we both have a vested interest in this, And as soon as you said Half-Life, I was like, yes, do it. Counter-Strike.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I have so many stories.
Real quick, back in the late 80s,
90s.
in the late 90s, high-speed internet was not in the houses like they were now, so you'd have to go to places, companies, that had 20 computers lined up and networked. And there was a game called Counter-Strike. And you had 2 teams of 10-ish, get your guns, go get money, kill other people on very tiny maps. Very competitive and still very
skill based,
Yeah.
like as far as FPS go and that.
Well, unless you're on dust with a sniper rifle shooting people in the toes coming through the tunnel.
Hey, back in that day too, the AWM or AWP, whatever it was called, the one-shot
Yeah,
rifle.
we
used to all shit on that. It's like, oh, you bought that, you suck. And now in like Counter-Strike Global Offensive, which is the modern iteration, like it's like, yeah, of course I bought this, and of course I'm gonna shoot you and kill you. Like it's like totally accepted now. But back in my day, it was like, you think you're a sniper, you buy a scout and you get headshots because that was easy mode. But oh my gosh, so many stories. Shout out Tazraz. You will never see this, but you changed my high school experience.
Here's the funny thing of me and Jack's connection. So in '98, I bought my first house. And I was working as a manager at a laser tag place at Biggs. And across the mall from the laser tag place I managed was a place called Tazraz. And they had 20 networked high-speed computers. And you would go and socialize with people. You would play on a computer. And when somebody killed you, you could literally turn around, they're 5 feet behind you, and talk shit. Okay, no more of this keyboard warrior stuff. You could literally be like, who's so-and-so? And they'd raise their hand, and you'd be like, fuck you. You know, I mean that's how network gaming was in the late 90s. I stopped working at the laser tag place. Grown up, did my own thing. And then, come to find out, many years later, Jack knew the place.
Yeah,
knew the guy.
That was my first job ever.
Yeah.
It's like it was sheer coincidence because we didn't meet for like 6-7 years after that.
Yeah, and then he went to work at the laser tag place I used to manage.
Yep.
Which was pretty cool.
But yeah, oh my gosh, Counter-Strike. And the last thing on that, the reason that experience was so pure is it harkens back to the reason I have such a passion for player versus player games in general. Is it all began with Street Fighter. When you would put your quarter on the arcade and you would wait for your turn, and if you won, you got to keep playing, and if you lost, you went to the back of the line.
Yeah.
So you better be good, because the guy next to you, you're definitely going to be talking shit. And the same thing carried over into Counter-Strike, and now that's gone. And then you think of N64 where you're elbowing your friends or blaming them for being screen lookers because you're playing, and now it's all online, which I love and I appreciate, but it's like there's that little
something
bit
missing.
of it,
there's a piece of you missing, being able to sit next to somebody in an arcade or in a computer area with somebody where you can talk shit and actually interact.
Yeah.
Because even though you sniped their foot coming through a tunnel and they're pissed as shit, you're going to get up and hug afterwards and be like, don't come through the tunnel again.
Exactly.
Because I just
Learn your
made
lesson,
$2,000
fool.
off you. Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
I love that stuff. And or I'll see you tomorrow kind of thing. It's like, you clowned on me all day today. All right, yep, see you tomorrow.
Yeah.
Oh, man. I love it. All right.
All right, let's hit the bucket some more.
Right.
Just a little bit. We're having some good times. We got some viewers. Not many people in chat, but hopefully we can get some more views.
Oh, all right, I'm balling that one back up
All right.
because it's just for you topic.
All right.
It's a great topic, but we'll get to it again.
All right. So there's 2. I picked 2. Grab one.
Controversial, but still on the same topic: PC versus console.
Oh.
My answer is super short: PC all day, all day. Customizable, build your own, play the most beautiful graphics available on the market, play the most cutting edge technology in video games, and a fantastic online experience. Like, I will forever be a PC side. I have I have a PS3 that was gifted to me 12 years ago, and it is just a Blu-ray player, but it's the little Blu-ray player that could, and I love it, but no, I don't game on it.
Side note, the PS3, if it is a version 1, 60 gig hard drive, in the settings, you can turn on backwards compatible for PS2 games.
Oh, I see.
So, version 2 of the PS3, without the 60 gig drive, they changed that. So it is very highly sought after if you have a 60 gig version that can play PS2 games.
Maybe I'll hit you up for your perfect eBay rating and you can sell it for me.
Right? No, I'll just take it and put it on the wall with my other consoles that just sit there and collect dust.
There you go, PC versus console.
Different side of the thing. I'm busy. I just don't anymore. I used to have hours to spend on a PC and play and do this. I don't anymore. I like consoles. Microsoft is more American than PlayStation, so I have an Xbox. And I just want to play a game that I can be like, okay, I'm going to go to bed in an hour. I'm going to sit down. I want to jump on something. I have Tetris Ultimate that I play a few times a week before
some
bed.
of my guys love that.
And it's just I can't invest any more than 30 minutes to an hour a day playing games.
Yeah.
And most of the PC games, especially with Steam and all the deals and the loading, and I'm just like, I just want to start a console, whatever it is, play a game for 30, 40 minutes. Metro Exodus, I'm getting back in DayZ because they just put a new patch in, and it's much more user-friendly for consoles than PC.
Okay.
Neon Chrome, which I've talked about, which I love. I've gone through it 3 times. I have all the achievements, and I'm still just playing it. There's no achievements, there's nothing to gain, and I just want something that I can play for like 30 minutes, less than an hour, and I'm good to go.
I understand that, and I've heard that too from other console players. And I wish I could play every day, but I don't. But on my game days, I'm like, yeah, and oftentimes I'll like boot up my computer and start patches before I go to work, so everything's good to go when I get home and like that kind of thing. But yeah, there's too much available for PC, and I feel like a lot of really good games are made for what PC is capable of, and but with the modern consoles that are coming out, like there is some beauty, but they all come to PC eventually.
Yeah.
And so
no, I mean it's good. I think that now, especially with society, there's a difference in it.
yeah.
It's like I choose to do other things or other hobbies, such as the Halloween or Christmas lights or the arcade cabinets or other stuff, and I just can't see sitting down. In my situation is totally different than Jack's. I have 2 teenage daughters that I want to strangle almost every night, metaphorically.
And I'm sure you're watching.
Yeah. Hi. But I just can't spend that time on there. So, all right, one more each.
Okay, one more each.
We'll bust it out. I got the easy one. White versus black socks.
Oh. Do tell.
Oh, okay. I do my own laundry.
Yeah.
Straight up, I do my own laundry.
Good.
There is nothing that I wear that I cannot throw in one load of laundry.
Oh, yeah.
Nope. So, undershirts, which we talked about, black. Socks, black. Same brand. When the brand changes the style and design, I throw all my socks away. I buy 3 packs of the new. Everything's the same. This stuff about sorting laundry, no. I do 1 load of laundry every Sunday night, and if I cannot put it in 1 wash and get it done, yeah, I don't do it. Nope, don't do it.
Okay, so we're surprisingly similar, but with one very specific difference. My wife and I divide all our chores. And she's not the biggest fan of doing dishes, so that's my ball. I could really give or take doing laundry, and she likes it, so that's her ball. But I do my whites, because I wear white undershirts and white socks, and I just like the idea of bleaching the garments that are closest to me, because...
With fabric softener.
and, but as far as sorting goes, no, I buy all the exact same kinds of socks, and they go into a drawer, and then I buy the exact same undershirts, they all go into a pile drawer, and then same thing with boxers, they have their own drawer. None of that shit gets folded. My shirts get hung up, my pants get folded, but stuff just gets stuffed in a drawer for convenience sake, and then in the morning when the room's dark, I can just be like 2 socks, 1 undershirt, some boxers, and I'm good to go.
Okay, I'm gonna pull one more metaphorically. 2 questions. Do you ball your socks or not?
Nope.
Do you fold your underwear and your undershirts?
Nope.
Oh, okay. We are completely different.
No.
Sunday night is like like I light candles in the bedroom. I bring the laundry in from the dryer. Every pair of underwear is folded. Every sock is balled. Every undershirt is folded.
It's a lot of effort. I don't have time for that.
Yeah. Ain't nobody got time for that.
And I actually read, and who knows if it's valid or not, but I use it as an excuse not to ball or fold my socks, that if you ball your socks, that it can wear down the elastic more quickly. And plus, if they're all the same sock, who gives a shit? You just grab 2. Whoop, good to go.
Yeah, I get that.
Alright, this is the last one.
Alright, last one. Jack needs to go play Warcraft tonight so we can get some levels.
I do, I'm so far behind. I'm enjoying the classic experience. All my... Oh, okay. No, we're good.
Okay.
Yeah, all my boys have beat me to 60, and I'll get there eventually.
But we did talk about that in general. Classic WoW, World of Warcraft. They came out with the kind of the pre-production game after, I want to say 8 or 9 expansions. They took
It's been a lot.
Yeah, they took the classic, they brought out the classic, they said this is what we're going to go to and do, which was great and fun at the beginning. And everybody is still under the mentality of, I got to get to 60, I got to get to endgame. But the thing we're thinking is, once you get to endgame in 2 months,
Yeah.
you're done. So there's a reason they brought it back, is to enjoy it rather than power leveling through it and getting it done.
And everybody, just real quick, everybody deserves to enjoy games in their own way. And I'm not going to ever fault anybody for what they like doing. Personally, I took this as an opportunity, because I quit World of Warcraft years and years ago. I took it as an opportunity to relive that experience. And I'm doing it. And it's slow and really, really fun. And I don't have much time for games, but when I do, I hope to knock out some time. And spend time on voice chat with the boys, which is also very, very fun. But yeah, so no big deal there. This is fold versus ball your toilet paper. I think this is the 3rd time we've talked about number 2s on this podcast. I pulled it.
So we know most of us fold it.
Yeah.
Some people, even talked about the squatty potty in certain positions when you're supposed to wipe. So yeah, I think we're good
I'm a
with that.
folder.
Yeah.
That's,
Fold
keep it
it.
simple.
Over under, it depends if you have a cat. We've talked about that.
Oh, okay, that, yeah.
Yeah, it just all depends.
Always front to back. First PC year. When did you get your first computer? So we're gonna call this my poll also. My own computer, not a family computer. My own computer I got in 2000, and that was like saved up for, built by myself, ground up everything to include the monitor, and yeah, that was 2000, and that was a tremendous triumph for a young man entering college, was to be able to build my first computer and use that to assist me in my college. Like, yeah, so 2000.
Okay, so I have to age myself. 2 quick stories. In 1987, when the first Apple came out, the first all-in-one, you held the monitor, it was black and white.
Uh-huh.
It wasn't the Apple IIe. It was about 1987. My dad goes, "We're going to take a road trip for 3 days." We were living in Sparks, Nevada at the time.
Okay.
We actually drove to Sacramento, California.
Wow, okay.
So my dad could buy an Apple computer. Drove back, stayed in hotels. It was a great time. The guy sold it to him, everything. And I remember we specifically played in Paint, the first Paint for Apple. And it took us 9 hours and almost all night to create an AT-AT, Star Wars AT-AT, on the Paint program for an Apple computer when the screen was what, 8x8?
They were small.
Black and white, 8x8,
Yeah.
sitting there doing, the first computer I bought my house April 1st of 98, and that was 2 months later when I was like, I want to play games. Gateway computers were great at the time.
At the time, yeah.
At the time, I bought it online. I customized it. I got the 21-inch monitors. Started playing Delta Force. Almost lost my job because of internet gaming in '98. So that's where it happened.
Yeah.
That was a good start.
Right on.
All right. In the future, we're going to try and keep it a little bit more sane. People watching, just like, share, turn it on and go to sleep, like I tell my kids. I'm like, just put the podcast on so we can get the minutes review and go to sleep on there. Things are going to heat up as soon as some of this political stuff winds down and we can actually have a conversation. But right now, it's opinion versus opinion against lie, against truth, against whatever's going on.
Yeah.
So we're going to try and open up some topics and just have some fun. We're at an hour 10. The 40's almost gone.
Yeah. Thank you for watching. Tell a friend. We'll get back to politics eventually, maybe. But no, we will.
Yeah.
But,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
We love you. Thank you
After
for
the
watching.
last 2, thanks for watching. We appreciate it. Like, leave a comment.
See you next time.